Florida's most notorious mom, Casey Anthony, going on trial for allegedly murdering her daughter, little Kaylee. Well, she's going to go on trial without Judge Stan Strickland, who's been there since the get-go. Minutes ago, the judge pulled himself off the case. Now, just Friday, Casey's dream defense team filed a motion to boot him. This new drama has something to do with some sort of relationship the judge had with a blogger who's been following the case. And the blogger had written headlines like, Casey Anthony should die. Well, Casey's facing again the death penalty for her daughter, little Kaylee's death. Facebookers already weighing in on this latest shocker. Kelly writes, the defense will find anything to prolong this case. Mary says he was a good judge for the case. McGee says if it can cause a mistrial, he should go. And Sherry writes, the defense has nothing, just another stall tactic. So a mixed bag there. Joining us to talk about this, Beth Karras, an attorney, correspondent for In Session on our sister network, True TV. Beth, a lot of people are scratching their heads over this one. What was Stan Strickland, the judge, up to here?
Well, you know, they call it a relationship he had with a blogger. That probably is not exactly accurate. He had a couple of communications with a blogger, but the problem is he initiated them. And this is a blogger who the judge said was being very fair. He thought this blogger really researched the facts and was fair to both sides. But the blogger, whose name is Dave Neckel, he uses the name Marinade Dave, did take a position contrary to the defense periodically in his blog. One was entitled, Casey Must Die. Another one referred to her guilt, basically, and that sooner or later she will just be a footnote in history when she spends the rest of her life in prison. And so for the judge to say, I read your blog and I think you're fair, it sounds like maybe he's saying, I agree with the things you're saying, and it doesn't matter if the judge told Casey to her face, I can be fair, I am a good judge. It doesn't matter what's going on in his head, it's what's going on in her head. And if she thought he might not be fair, he needed to recuse himself.
So Beth, as you saw this unfold, you're not surprised he recused himself. Sounds like you saw it coming.
No, not at all. And we know about 2 communications that he had with this blogger. The second one being in February when this year when the blogger was in the hospital, and the judge reached out to him afterwards and hoped that he was well. The judge doesn't even address that in his order. He does say, though, that the defense was aware for months about the earlier communication. It was done in open court in front of everyone at the end of a hearing. In fact, it was caught on camera. But a source close to the case told me that these 2 contacts that we're aware of may not be the only ones between the judge and the blogger.
Okay. Let's get a call in. Hazel's with us in Pennsylvania. Hazel, your thoughts on this development?
Yes, I am.
Hey, go ahead, Hazel.
Well, I'd like to say that I don't think the judge should have resigned. What they're trying to do is they're trying to keep delaying this case for all these simple little things, hoping that people will mellow out. Nobody's going to mellow out after what she did to her daughter. No way.
Okay, Hazel, thanks for the call. Beth, we already have a new judge, right? Belvin Perry. What do you know about Belvin Perry?
Well, Belvin Perry's been a judge for a long time. I actually covered a death penalty case with one of the same prosecutors on Casey Anthony's case years ago, and it had moved to Naples for trial. The defendant was found guilty, and the judge sent him to death row. He's still on death row, and this was from the mid-1990s. Belvin Perry is a no-nonsense judge, and I do not believe the trial schedule will be affected, by the way. It's 13 months away. This judge has a lot of work to do, but I don't think the case will be delayed.
Okay. I want to bring in my colleague Jane Velez-Mitchell, host of Issues with Jane, coming up top of the hour. Jane, you see this here? Stan Strickland out, Belvin Perry in. How significant do you think this is the case?
Well, it throws a hand grenade into the entire case. It's chaos. This case wasn't going to start till next May of 2011, with this judge. Imagine now that they've got a new judge that has to read up on the case. It's absolutely a bombshell. It really is. I mean, this is the most dramatic development we have seen since the case started. And we've seen plenty of dramatic developments. And I thought that the judge's motion was absolutely brilliantly written, filled with sarcasm, basically saying, you can take your case. Here, have it. I'll give it to you. I don't need this kind of grief. And essentially, his position is that this exchange between him and the blogger happened in open court, and that it was videotaped and everybody saw it and heard about it, and he claims the defense knew about it for months and suddenly decided to use it and play this card. Now, I don't know whether it's an absolutely brilliant move by the defense or an absolutely crazy move that's going to backfire. None of us will know that until we see how the new judge is operating and whether or not he is going to be as fair as many felt Judge Strickland was. So it really could be a brilliant move, or it just could be a fiasco for the defense. We just don't know yet.
Okay, Beth, do you see this as a defense strategy to go after Judge Strickland like this motion?
Well, I think it's a part of their strategy, but they had grounds to do it based upon what they learned. They were certainly displeased with the last ruling by the judge a couple of weeks ago when he said that they cannot have copies of the Texas EquiSearch documents. They can't even take a pen and paper and go in and take notes looking at the documents. They can look at them and just flag certain documents they think may be questionable. Maybe they'll get a copy. I'm told by lawyers in Florida that that is a very unusual situation, and based on my practice also, I find that strange.
Okay. Beth, great talking to you. Thanks for joining us. Jane, we'll be watching issues coming up.
We'll have the latest on this.
Yep. Jane will be watching top of the hour. Thanks.